You and your boyfriend have been together for 4 years, but the past two have been difficult. You unintentionally gave him trust issues by being overly cautious about small things, like deleting messages from a school friend out of fear they'd start a fight. Eventually, he found out, and although it wasn't anything major, it created tension between you two. He started becoming distant, and you felt lost, trying to prove to him that you had nothing to hide. During a trip with friends, you met someone who was immediately drawn to you. Despite rejecting his advances, he followed you on Instagram. To clarify your relationship status, you posted about your boyfriend. However, he continued reaching out, and although you initially resisted, you eventually started talking to him regularly. Despite knowing it was wrong, things escalated, and you ended up kissing and secretly dating him while still with your boyfriend. Realizing your mistake, you confessed everything. Your boyfriend was deeply hurt and left you, which led you back to the other guy for a brief period. However, your boyfriend later reached out, asking you to leave the other person and work on rebuilding your relationship. While things seemed to improve at first, he struggled with the betrayal and constantly reminded you of it. He expressed that he wanted to make things work, but admitted that it was difficult to love you again. It has now been 3 months, and while you are committed to proving yourself and rebuilding trust, he still struggles with his emotions, often saying hurtful things. You're wondering how to make things easier for him and regain his trust. As for the second story, you have been married for 6 years to a man you deeply love and consider your best friend. However, from the start, there was a difference in sex drive between you two. Though he is loving and kind, he often turned down your advances, which hurt you. Early in your relationship, you discovered he watched porn, which he initially denied. Later, you realized he'd been lying about it for years, which deeply affected your trust in him. Despite this, you stayed together, but your feelings toward the relationship changed. You felt less desired, and though he made some effort, it never fully repaired the emotional rift. Then, you moved to a new place for work and made a new friend. At first, it was innocent, but you found yourself growing attached, even though you knew it wasn't right. The emotional connection filled a gap you felt in your marriage, and despite your husband's attempts to make things work, you became more distant. Eventually, you crossed a line and slept with your friend. The experience wasn't fulfilling, but now you feel conflicted. You still love your husband and don't want to leave him, but you also feel incredibly guilty. You worry that if you confess, he will stay despite the pain, making you feel worse. At the same time, you know that withholding the truth isn't right. Now, you're stuck wondering whether to be honest or to quietly step away from the marriage. The overall takeaway is that both situations involve trust, betrayal, guilt, and the struggle to repair broken relationships. In both cases, open communication, personal accountability, and possibly professional counseling could help navigate the complexities. However, it's important to consider whether staying in a relationship is truly the best choice for both partners' emotional well-being.